So, it's 1 o'clock, it's Monday, the Earth Day event just started. I've seen a bunch of tweets of shiny Diglett. People are getting shiny Diglett like crazy, it seems. I always have such unrealistic expectations for shinies because as soon as it starts, I see so many tweets from people saying, I got it after 4 checks, but that's probably like 0.01% of actual players. So I put some lures on, I put on an incense. I've only seen 2 Diglett so far. But, hello? A wild Lapras just spawned right here in my apartment. Not from my lure, not from my incense. One of those recent spawn points that I had added here. I finally have spawn points. I know I mentioned it once or twice. I finally have spawn points in range of my apartment, and a Lapras. A Lapras spawns on the spawn point. I was really hoping it would be shiny, because how crazy would that be? And speaking of which, it seems like the shiny rate for Lapras from the Win 5 Gym Battles research task is actually pretty high. I've seen people who got 3 out of 3 shinies on those. My friend Ken got 2 out of 3 shinies. Literally did 3 research tasks and got 2 shiny Lapras. So if you're having similar luck, let me know. I know obviously not everyone is, but to have some people get 2 out of 3 and 3 out of 3 seems pretty crazy. Anyway, oh, here's a Diglett. It's not shiny. So I'm going to keep editing. Today was sort of my edit and catch up on sleep, get over the jet lag type day. But if a shiny Diglett pops up, I'll be sure to breaking news. Actually, the news broke last night. Where's my phone? I found it. Last night was crazy in Pokemon GO. Like I said, I've been here just kind of, well, catching up, fighting jet lag, editing the PvP video, which unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you feel about PvP, will be bumped to tomorrow's video now. Because today, we have to just talk about the craziness that happened last night. So to kick it off, Pokemon GO tweeted, we've been hearing reports of unidentified Pokemon. Oh, and then there's the emoji too. As Professor Willow looks into these reports, please let us know if you spot anything out of the ordinary in Pokemon GO. And the image includes the silhouettes of the Lake Trio. These are 3 legendary Pokemon from the Sinnoh region, Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf. Shortly after, or actually I think shortly before this tweet went out, reports started to come in on the Sylph Road of these Pokemon being found in the wild. This is the first time that we've ever had legendary Pokemon just spawning in the wild. So right now, it seems like they're divided regionally. In the Americas, we've seen reports of Azelf caught in Virginia, in Washington, in Toronto, in Brazil, so South America as well. We've seen reports of Uxie being caught in Japan and in Singapore, so Asia Pacific. And then we've seen reports of Mesprit in the UK and in Germany. So that's going to be Europe and most likely Africa, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So the way that these regions are normally divided, as it used to be for Community Day, it's the Americas and Greenland. That's most likely where Azelf is spawning right now. Asia Pacific, so Asia, Australia, that's going to be where Uxie is spawning right now. And Europe, Middle East, Africa is where you're probably going to see Mesprit. Again, that's not entirely confirmed, but so far all the reports are pretty much leading us to that conclusion. It seems like these Pokemon are regional right now. Now, that doesn't mean they're always going to be in these regions. We've seen regional legendaries for raids. We've seen when the legendary beasts were first introduced, or Latios and Latias, they were introduced in one region and then switched to another region. So we could see these legendary Pokemon migrate, but with the rarity that they're spawning at right now, I feel like they might stay in these regions for a considerable amount of time. They are incredibly rare. There have been so few reports. They're less common than unknown, so you're going to have to get really lucky to find these. And honestly, I kind of like that. For a legendary Pokemon, I think it's really cool that they're so rare and so hard to find that, I mean, it's made me like open my game every 30 minutes just to check if there happens to be one nearby. So far, there hasn't. And there is a theory right now that they're spawning near bodies of water because all the tweets, aside from the English tweets, specifically mention large bodies of water, particularly lakes. Again, they are the Lake Trio, so it makes sense that they would spawn near lakes. Lakes were where they were found in Diamond and Pearl and Platinum. So if you are lucky enough to find one, take note of where you found it. Were you near water? Were you near the ocean? Were you near a lake? Was it totally random? Are you in the middle of the desert? Let's figure out where these Pokemon are spawning, because, yeah, I think we'd all like to find one. It's like the ultimate scavenger hunt prize in Pokemon GO right now. The rarest Pokemon, by far, that we've ever seen in this game. Now, just a little, not necessarily conspiracy corner, but a short theory. I have a feeling, since these Pokemon are regional, there's one in the Americas, there's one in Europe, Middle East, Africa, there's one in Asia Pacific, there's also a Pokemon GO Fest in America, in Europe, and in Asia. I feel like we could see them featured at each of these Pokemon GO Fests. So Azelf for Pokemon GO Fest in Chicago. If we have special research, maybe it won't be Jirachi like some of us expected. Maybe the special research will grant you Azelf, which is now spawning in the Americas. Same would go for Pokemon GO Fest in Dortmund. Maybe you could get Mesprit from the special research there, and then Uxie from special research in Pokemon GO Fest Asia. Just a theory, but I was up at 3 a.m. because I couldn't sleep thanks to jet lag, and that just kind of popped into my mind. 3 regional legendaries, 3 regional Pokemon GO Fests. Who knows? We'll find out sooner or later. Next month. Is it May yet? It's almost May. In a little over a month and a half, we'll find out if I'm right about that one. But for now, I think that's all we know about the Lake Trio in Pokemon GO. Again, you're going to have to get super lucky, so pay attention to your local Discord servers. If someone finds one, they better be sharing that information with everyone else. In other Pokemon release news, Shellos became available last night and then unavailable immediately after. Someone accidentally released Shellos in Pokemon GO. So Shellos is a Pokemon that we've expected to be regional. It has 2 forms, and they're the East Sea and West Sea forms. So it's actually like a regional Pokemon in the main series games, and we 100% expected it to be a regional Pokemon in Pokemon GO. And then all of a sudden, at like 9 o'clock at night, they just started appearing, both of them, around the world. So some people caught them. If you got one, you're definitely lucky. Not as lucky as the people who found one of the Lake Trio already, but lucky because they're no longer available. So my theory is that they are supposed to be regional Pokemon, but someone accidentally released them for like 10, 15 minutes worldwide. So if you have a Shellos that's tagged April 29th or 30th, that's a pretty rare Pokemon too. The accidental Shellos. And if you caught both, then you're probably extra lucky, because I think when they're officially released, they'll probably be regional, as they're supposed to, or as we expected them to be. So again, Shellos was out. It's not anymore. If you see someone with Shellos or Gastrodon as their buddy, it's just because they happened to be out and playing and got lucky for those 15 or 20 minutes or so when it was actually available. So don't lose hope. I think Shellos will probably be back pretty soon. But until then, I have some work to do. Like, I'm gonna make some coffee and try to stay awake. Whew. The Lake Trio is here, and they're roaming in the wild. Again, report all spawns on Twitter with location tag, because we're trying to figure out if these are regional. And again, right now, they seem regional. Oh, one last thing, because I just read this on the Sylph Road. There were some Game Master changes to the Lake Trio. Last night, they had a capture rate of 0.02. Very, very low capture rate. That's the same as we've seen for legendaries for raids. Luckily, since they're wild spawns, you can use Ultra Balls and make them a little easier to catch. But to continue, they had a flea rate of 0.04, 4% flea rate, and I did see a screenshot of Azelf that ran from someone. Some other people reported that a group went to catch the Azelf in their city, and some of them fled. Now, as of last night, the flea rate has been removed, which means they can no longer run. So keep that in mind. If you do find one, it should not run from you anymore. RIP, sorry to everyone who actually had one run before the changes were made. But there is no flea rate in the Game Master file, which means that they should not be able to run. So keep that in mind. If you find one, you should be able to catch it regardless. Alright, there you go. Crazy night last night in Pokemon GO. Tournament's coming tomorrow, I promise. See you then.